evening to viewers. Welcome to join us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. Tonight, we talk about 3 military men that have so far died and scores of persons seriously injured following a road accident that occurred in Sabah in the northwest region of the country. That was today. And also in this newscast, the governor of the southwest region of the country, Bernard Okalia Bilai, has declared that the administration does not have a hand in the persistent strike or tension mounting on the campus of the University of Buea. Thanks once again, viewers, for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. We begin in Yaoundé Central region of the country, where the corpse of a night watchman was discovered this morning in Sitevet neighborhood in that part of the country. Reports say the victim, who was guarding some shops in the area, was assassinated by some alleged bandits who burgled the building material shops in the area. Roland Nakong tells us more in the following report.
The corpse of the night watchman was discovered by residents of Yoyoba near Sitevet Wednesday morning. The macabre discovery signals the degree of insecurity in the Sitevet neighborhood. He was probably assassinated Tuesday night by unidentified bandits who were on the run. The bandits broke into a building material shop and carried away gas bottles and other valuables.
Oui, ils ont porté les bouteilles de gaz et la caisse.
One of the shopkeepers tells us he arrived work Wednesday morning and discovered the doors of the building material shop were open.
Je viens, on charge le ciment et la porte est ouverte comment?
Police have opened investigations over the incident, and the corpse of the Chadian night watchman is now in the morgue of the Yaoundé University Teaching Hospital.
Meantime, some 23 alleged bandits are being tried at the Bonanjo military court here in the economic capital Douala after they were caught in possession of guns. They were arrested by Littoral Judicial Police after weeks of investigations. For Hansin Chanji tells us more in the following report.
These 23 top armed bandits, headed by 19-year-old Feutang Salvadorica, were caught in possession of 7 locally produced guns, an automatic pistol, several cartridges, a knife, and a screwdriver. The arrest of the bandits came after several force operations for over 1 month by the Littoral Judicial Police Department. Reports say it is this gang who robbed the premises of a priest at Lukbaba in April.
In the night of 2nd and 3rd April 2013, the monastery of Lukbaba was attacked by, and following our investigations, they were caught. 2 of them were caught. And after, we have dismantled the whole gang.
Most of the bandits were being tracked down due to information from their friends. 2 of them were arrested in the Logbaba incident, and the others were picked up in Wuri, Mungo, Lum Melon, Mbanga Kemkem and Baham. Fomenkong Robert and Chindajang were arrested in the northwest region. They are the manufacturers of the guns. The Littoral Regional Delegate for National Security, Raymond Esogo, revealed that one of the gang members is still on the run. He reiterated his determination in the fight against crime and insecurity in his jurisdiction, and says it is time to put an end to all these acts.
It is a big risk for armed robbers to come, to think that they can come and hide in our region. It is a big risk. Even if they hide in the sky or underwater, we are able to fight them. We'll fight them. We have means to fight bandits, armed robbers, but I cannot disclose it here.
The bandits are being tried at the military tribunal in Bonanjo.
Meantime, 2 persons are receiving treatment at the Kumba District Hospital, where in the southwest region of Cameroon, to serious injuries they sustained in a road accident that occurred yesterday. The accident involved a 20-seater bus, and that is said to have bumped into a Mercedes vehicle that was coming from an opposite direction. The accident took place around Barumbi Native area in Kumba, and the victims, including the bus driver identified as Ikoy and a lady who was in the Mercedes car, were rushed to a nearby hospital for treatment, and the incident has been blamed on drunk driving. As we announced as well in the headlines, at least 3 military men have died in an accident that occurred this morning in Sabga along the Bamendendorp Road in the northwest region of Cameroon. The victims were on board a military truck which was transporting elements of the Bamenda-based military battalion to their training camp in Sabga. The truck, which was on a high speed, is said to have overturned several times. We surely shall be coming back to that with images in our subsequent newscast. We take you back to Yaoundé Central region of the country. The governor of the southwest region of the country has said that the administration is not meddling in the affairs of the University of Buea and cannot make a comment on the detention of some UB students. Bernard Okalia Bilai was speaking in Yaoundé Central region of the country today on the sidelines of the meeting of governors which started yesterday. Roland Akong tells us more in the following report.
We approached the governor of the southwest region to get his take on the detention of some students of the University of Buea.
It is not the governor, the administrative authority who are detaining the student. It is the authority of the University of Buea who complain about what was done by some students within the campus. We don't intervene unless the Vice Chancellor requests us to intervene. That is the situation. So if you want to know about what is going on in the University of Buea campus, you must go to the Vice Chancellor and his administration.
As a patron of renseignement in the region, what do you know about the problem?
I would politely beg you to avoid that problem because it is a matter of discipline in a campus and the local authority are not intervening unless there is a requisition. And if there is a requisition, we just put the forces of law and order at the disposal of the Vice Chancellor.
Another public worry we took to the governor of the southwest region is a proliferation of churches in his region.
It's a problem, and we have instructed the local authority, the SGO and the GO, to close the churches that are not authorized to exist legally.
A recent release by the Minister of Territorial Administration states only 47 churches have authorization to function in Cameroon. But on the ground, there are hundreds of churches, and their activities are considered by some critics as a nuisance to the public.
But they are disturbing the population. They are disturbing the population. You know what happened in Bamenda. And many other localities are facing the same consequences.
The governor of the southwest region of the country there distancing himself from issues or the tension mounting on the campus of the University of Buea, and also talking about the close down of illegal or clandestine churches in that part of Cameroon. And just to add that the case pitting some students of the University of Buea and the UB administration would continue tomorrow in Buea, southwest region of Cameroon. Meantime, the annual conference of Cameroon's regional governors is aimed at guaranteeing free, fair and transparent elections of municipal councillors and members of parliament built for the 30th of September 2013. Let's now get the level of preparedness of some of the regions. Roland Akong precisely spoke to the governor of the Adamawa region and also the governor of the southwest region.
The southwest region is preparing to handle the twin election in peace and calm. There is no major problem. We have till date, as usual, accompanied the organ in charge of organizing the election, ELECAM. Everything is quite okay. So we don't have particular problems in the Southwest.
I think that we have to maintain this peace, the calmness in the region, because the election should be organized in a fair atmosphere. So we have to, we have this phenomenon of coupure de route, which from time to time is becoming a preoccupation. And to secure the process of election, we have to be sure that everything will be going very smoothly. So on the terrain, that is something which is very, very important and very interesting for us.
Meantime, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development has ended a working visit he paid in the northwest region of the country. Recently, Lazai Simimenye visited plantations in the Santa subdivision, and it was disclosed during the minister's visit that a project worth some 100 million francs CFA for the production of average potato seedlings shall be launched. The said project shall equally be expanded to other regions, notably to the center as well as the southwest region of Cameroon, where soil is said to be of poor quality for the food commodity. That does it for this segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Thank you so much, viewers, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. Our guest tonight is a social worker to tell us about the phenomenon, the rising phenomenon in the city of Douala and some parts of the region as well. This week, we were presented with shocking images of children that were inflicted injuries by their mothers or their caretakers. Our guest tonight, like I earlier indicated, is a social worker. Good evening, Madam Crescentia Vezekov, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Madam.
Like I earlier talked about, the first case was that of a 5-year-old child that was inflicted pepper in her private organs by the stepmother, and it was precisely at the Batakungo neighborhood here in the city of Douala. And another incident was another shocking images of a child about 8 years old to 9 years old that was also presented from Kumba Southwest region of the country, that the mother is said to have tied the child up after beating her, and the child's body as well were swollen. The bodies, all parts of the child's body were swollen. So what's your immediate reaction to these happenings lately?
Thank you, Madam. As regards the child of the Douala child who was infected pepper in the private parts, I think the parent exaggerated. But I was meant to know that it's a stepmother. It's a stepmother. And stepmothers, they don't consider their mixed children as their own children. At times they come to these homes knowing very well that one woman had left, or the woman had that child with the husband, and they always want to do all that, so that the child should leave the house so that they feel free. Then, even if this were her child, there are some parents who exaggerate.
Like the case in Kumba.
Like the case in Kumba, for example, a 9-year-old child, whatever she did is that mother's child. And to correct this child is not to beat the child at the point of death. So I think the only thing is you start educating your child from birth to behave. And if at all the child goes out of hand, it is not to beat the child up to that level. It's unfortunate that with us in Cameroon laws doesn't say anything on parental correction to extreme. But in the United States, you beat a child,
the child takes you to court. Before
court.
we come back to the role of justice in this issue, so what can actually cause a mother to inflict pain of such magnitude in the child that he or she delivers, and minus the fact that it was the stepmother, as a mother, as somebody who is taking care of a child, what could actually push a woman who can also give birth to another child, inflict pains on another child?
In fact, I can say from the psychological point of view, there's sometimes what they call displaced aggression. This woman is angry because of something else, probably with the husband. and or probably with the difficult life, and when the child does something, it is not that particular aspect that the woman is angry or the mother is angry. It is because of circumstances. You know, for like the child in Douala, the 5-year-old child, what has that child done to deserve that? Maybe the woman is angry because of the attitude of the husband, or just because maybe she has been forced to take care of that girl, and you know, she's behaving like
so
that.
Because she has marital issues maybe with the husband, she will
That's what
maybe
I'm saying.
pour everything on the child. So could we also blame the, like you earlier indicated, on the manner in which the Cameroonian justice is handling the whole issue? Because if maybe there were laws put in place, the mothers just believe that maybe they can carry out any such any act on a child and go scot-free. Maybe if there was some measures that were put in place, maybe to maybe regulate the activities of mothers, and also tell them or let them know that there are some certain sanctions that are with them, the phenomenon might be reduced.
You know that in our schools now, it is rightly forbidden for teachers to beat children. There's a text with the Minister of Education that children should not be beaten in school. And if there's a text like that, that parents should take care the way they correct their children, I think they will be careful. Because in schools now, it is difficult to see a teacher beating a child. It is forbidden. And if they are at home, if parents are forbidden to beat a child, when we are talking of certain extent, you can just slap a child, but not beating the child to inflict wounds on the child or putting pepper in the child's private part. That is extreme. And if there's a law in Cameroon that states that parental correction to extreme of a certain nature, maybe according to the medical certificate, stating of a certain degree, then parents will be careful not to go to such extent.
As a social worker, do you receive such cases every day? Do you see them happening? Maybe like in the city of Douala, how often?
You know, there are certain cases whereby people just swallow what is happening in their homes. There are some women or some families, something happened, they prefer hiding it so that it should end at the level of the family. But we've had cases of stubborn boys, stubborn children in their homes, whereby the father or the mother will beat the child to a certain level that the child is found in the hospital, maybe with the treatment or having even a bed rest. The child is not going to school because the child was beaten by the parents.
Yeah, talking about maybe parents swallowing all these problems in their homes, the case of the 5-year-old child was actually raised by neighbors. You see, neighbors at times cannot bear seeing a child undergoing a certain level of punishment and has to raise an alarm. That was the situation of the 5-year-old child in Bata, Congo, here in the economic capital, Douala. And how should, because you are not only a social worker, you are as well a mother, how should a child be punished? Should a child be inflicted pains upon because you wanted to correct the child, or let the child follow certain rules and regulations?
Correcting a child doesn't need beating. You correct the child by giving advice. And when you advise the child 1, 2, 3 times, you can decide to punish the child, maybe to forgo a meal, maybe to forgo a trip, maybe to forgo even watching television. No children are attached to television. You tell a child that since you have done this, you will not watch the television for 1 or 2 days. I think that child will try to correct. Another thing too, parents need to pray. They need to pray for their children. These are a evolving world. Children are so violent that at times they can tease you to go out of hand. You'll be tempted to beat. But what I can say is, you correct the child by advising, punishing the child, and depriving the child from certain pleasures, and at the same time, you pray. You pray and you dialogue with your child. There are certain parents, they are always out of their house. They are always out of children's sight. The children, they never dialogue. And the only dialogue they get is just quarreling, is just abusing and beating.
And how vital is it for a parent to always be there to maybe keep the child in track, so that when such circumstances, when a child is actually being heady, the parent should be there to say, no, this is what you are supposed to do and not this.
You know, children who are idle, they are exposed to some devices. So the parents should make sure that you make your child busy, and you supervise the activities you assign your child to do. For example, with our difficult situations, financial situation in big towns like Douala and Kumba, parents are always out busy. They go to farms, they go to the markets, or they are going to offices. But while you are at those points, make sure you give an assignment to your child, so that your child should not be idle. And a child who is idle has that tendency of going out of their house, coming back late, or even going to steal, and they don't even study. And with this proliferation of films, houses all over, children are tempted to go into those places, and that's why when parents come back, they have to pour their anger on them.
And since you're condemning some of these practices by parents across the country today, since we're talking about how negative or the negative implications, so let us come back now to how it is very, very important for a parent to be able to take care of the child and be beside the child, to make sure to oversee or take care of the upbringing of the child, to ensure that such things do not come up, like maltreating the child and beating up the child, is very, very important.
If during class period, even if you are a literate mother, even if you never went to college, you have the right to inspect your children's books when you come back in the evening. Just looking at the dates in the exercise book and seeing where the child even went to school. You also try to see where there's an assignment for the child to do. But if you just allow the child to go to school, you don't even know where the child is going. Then, for those who are not going to, children who are not going to school, like we are now on vacation, there are many children who are idle in their homes while the parents are out.
And it's coming at a time when women have been fighting tirelessly to restore their rights and dignity, preserve their rights in the society and everywhere, every spheres of life that they find themselves. Are these not some of the responsibilities that social workers are supposed to be fighting for, associations are supposed to be fighting for? Some of the issues that they're supposed to fight against.
In fact, we have the Ministry of Women Empowerment that work with associations, and there are times counseling sessions that are given to women, especially in their various associations. Home care, how do you take care of your children? Not only that, in the news we are talking about proliferation of churches in Cameroon. I think all those churches are talking about God. And if you are a parent, you know that you have some duties to perform on your children. And if your children are getting out of hand, you are responsible. Because there's maybe one or two things that you never do to that child. But we know that some of the children are inborn criminals, are inborn, children who are out of the way, but some children are out of hand because of the laissez-faire of the parents.
And it takes a patient parent, a parent who can always present, to be able to get the stubbornness out of the child.
Even if you are not present, you have to supervise the child's activities.
Thank you so much, Madam, for joining us tonight on Talking Point, and we hope to have you some other time again.
Thank you,
Our guest tonight is social worker telling us about some of the implications, particularly negative implications of parents inflicting injuries on their own children. That does it tonight for this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinox Television. We thank you so much for your keen attention, wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Good evening to you once again.